another edition of The Brother's Perspective. I am your host, Kenny Steele, and this is... Wait. This isn't Kyle. Does anyone know where Kyle is? Kyle! Damn.
I think he left me.
Okay. No, we can still do this, right?
Yeah,
we can still do this. We can still do this, right? So, I'm your host, Kenny Steele, and this is...
Hi, I'm Russell Clay, better known as Absolut throughout the gaming community.
Absolut. See, exactly. So I told you you're going to get somebody. He's a gamer, you know what I'm saying? Of course, MCU fan, and of course, among other things, he's an educator.
Yes, I am.
He's a teacher.
Actually, I am a teacher.
He's also a bread eater. He likes sandwiches.
I ate a lot of bread. There's a reason I had to keep this figure.
But anyway, this is my dear friend Russell, as he introduced himself. And unfortunately, Kyle cannot be here today. But we do have a great guest. Me and Russell have actually been following this since Iron Man.
Yeah,
pretty much 2008, man. And this is pretty much all we talked about. And I needed an expert for this review, so I brought along my buddy Russell. And of course, as my guest, I'm going to ask you, what did you think of this film?
There's only one word that's going to be able to, really wrap this film up.
He's been waiting for this all day.
Yeah. I've been the only one at work that has seen this film, so to be able to just be bursting with information and not be able to talk to people about it has been hard. No, I can wrap it up in one word, and it's just phenomenal. This movie, I will say this, that I would be okay of them not making any more Marvel movies, and they just end it with this.
Wow. You're just going to cut Peter Parker like that, dude? Like, come on, man.
I mean, I do know that they
Tom Holland needs a check, man. He has bills to pay.
Where I am excited to see what they do with Far From Home, I will say, though, that with this film being the way it was and the way they ended everything, I would be okay with them being done.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, before we actually get into that, okay, because this is going to be a shock to a lot of people. So, Avengers Endgame. Surprisingly, I really enjoyed this film. I like it, but I didn't love it.
How'd you not love this film?
I didn't. This film, don't get me wrong, I think this film is an amazing movie. I think it's huge. I think it's a popcorn movie. I think this is the finale of all finales. I have, of course, we've been watching this yearly episodic TV show, which I've been calling it because it pretty much is.
Yeah. We've
been watching this for 11 years now. And this season finale is probably one of the best season finales I've ever seen.
By far.
And it's such a great conclusion. And again, as I kind of said before, these actors can really play, this role in their sleep. But as I reviewed in as we filmed last time in our review of Avengers Infinity War, I kind of saw that movie as a heist film from the antagonist perspective.
You saw Infinity War as the heist?
Yeah. Okay. With Thanos trying to go and get the Infinity Stones. Okay. And to me, this was pretty much the same movie, but it was flipped. Mm-hmm. So if you follow Thanos in Infinity War, and you kind of actually look at him as the protagonist, and the Avengers being, the good guys that have to pretty much stop him, you see the protagonist, complete his goal and go through these, these motions and these actions to just, get this man goal. And when they kind of flipped it was kind of the Avengers' turn, which I was kind of like, okay. Same thing twice. You know what I'm saying? Not that I'm knocking it, because it's great. It's still great.
Yes.
And I think with them really doing a paying homage to all the films prior was so good. They touch on so many.
And that was my thing about Thanos, especially in Infinity War, where Infinity War was about him collecting the Infinity Stones and him going after his end goal, which was to create balance across the universe. And he was one of those villains that I could actually sympathize with because of his background. But with going into this one, knowing what happened in Infinity War, it felt good in this one. I've heard a lot of people actually complain about the first hour of the film about how they felt it was too.
It's a slow burn.
It's a slow burn. But you know what? After all of what Infinity War was, I was okay with that with this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I was okay with everything kind of being toned down and us take a second because of we did hit that point of what do we do now and how do we recover from this.
And you know what I liked about the slow burn too is that you know, everyone who wasn't affected by the snap had to deal with those consequences.
Right. They had to still live in that world.
They still had, and they showed the consequences of how much a toll it took on humanity. And, you know, no secret, no spoilers, but the Avengers lost in Infinity War.
They did.
So they had to deal with that loss. They had to, sit there and regroup and plan. And it was just like, wow, you actually get to see these heroes be vulnerable. So I didn't mind that first hour. But once it kind of starts kicking into gear, one thing that kind of separates it from other MCU films to me is that, you know, it hits certain beats. It pays its respects to all the films that, you know, that got
what created that universe.
Yes. So, you know, of course, Captain America First Avenger.
Yep.
You know, of course, the stuff and, you know, the Avengers, of course, Iron Man, Thor the Dark World.
Which is
still a good movie.
Right.
Which is still a good movie, but, you know.
I really enjoyed that we got to, in this film, see some of the things that we've seen before. And go, and I mean, I remember in the auditorium I was in, when those things happened, the auditorium just bursted with joy. Like, we were all cheering. Like, it was like, this is that point in that movie that we saw all those years ago. And I think that with them losing in Infinity War, moving into this one, it actually kind of humanized the Avengers into, we are not invincible. We can lose. And now that we've lost, what?
Because they've never dealt with that
We've
before.
never lost before. So now what do we do?
And even as individuals, you know, they've always kind of, you know, overcome, you know, any obstacle. And as a team, you know, they were, you know, they may have been down but never out, you know, and it was just one of those things when they just all got on the same page, it was just going and going and going. And I really like the respects that everybody dealt with loss differently in that film.
I think the one character that I loved how they did that, as far as showing the humanized version of, had to have been Tony Stark. The fact of, you know, he warned everybody that something like this was going to happen. And coming into Civil War, they weren't listening to him. And even through Civil War, they didn't listen. And he reminds them. Especially, you know, he comes back. He has his meeting again with Cap for the first time.
Which isn't spoilers. We see them meet up in the trailer. We see them meet up in the trailer. But there's somebody on their computer. Don't spoil the movie, dude.
We're going to try to keep this as spoiler-free as possible. And so we do see that Cap and Iron Man get back together and they meet again. And their first meeting again, that was a big kind of emotional scene because at that point they hadn't seen each other in a while. Since the events of Civil War.
And I think what's really great about this film is that they've done so well. I noticed it in Civil War. It was kind of so they're kind of putting the pieces together, and it was kind of really hard for them to elaborate on in Avengers Age of Ultron. But everything since Civil War, you've seen each character trait earned. Like, you know, Tony Stark's, him, you know, dealing with loss and coming back time after time. He's, you know, he's falling, being worried and, you know, kind of being panicked and kind of being paranoid. You see that with soldiers, and he's drastically changed his life. He was such a, you see, Tony, you know, we've all grown with Tony as being such a maverick and playing by his own rules, and now he's just on such a road to redemption. That this film was really just that gut punch that floored him, and to see him bounce back in this film was just, I mean, like I've been saying it. I don't know if anybody agrees with me, but like he's the godfather of the MCU. Man.
Oh, he is. Like, we wouldn't have the MCU and the films we have now without Iron Man.
Yeah, without Robert Downey Jr. and it's amazing. He's done a great job, but this film is completely earned. But that's not to shy away from anyone else. Of course, Captain America, everything he did in this film was completely earned. You know, and it was his respects to what they kind of go with Thor. It is in a different direction. What they do with Hulk is a different direction. Even you know, Black Widow and Hawkeye's relationship. You know,
yes.
You know, it's taking like a hard turn. They've never had a loss like that.
And Hawkeye becoming Ronin took a big toll on him.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That took a huge toll on him.
Absolutely,
it made him question some things.
It's ridiculous. It made him more reckless and ruthless.
Yeah.
He just didn't care. And you see this now. A lot of people are going to say, okay, this film is 3 hours. We get that. You're probably sitting up there wondering, hey, when am I going to pee? You have every right to be concerned about that. I suggest do it before you watch this film. But the way they elaborate on these characters and everything they've done so far in this film, I think we both will agree, is completely earned. And this conclusion is completely earned.
The last 30 minutes to an hour is
the
insane.
biggest scale we've ever seen. It is massive, like utterly massive. Probably the biggest thing we've ever seen.
And we're not talking about just by storytelling. I mean, I saw it and I talked to my wife about it, about even just the cinematography of it.
Yeah.
Of some of the stuff, like as much stuff as they could cram on one screen was insane.
Mm-hmm. So, Russ, if you had to give this film a rating, and we normally do our ratings out of 5.
Okay.
If you want, you can give it, 3.5, 4.2, 5 point. Well, actually, we can't go above 5.
Five max?
Exactly, 5 is max. Go figure.
5 max. All right, that's good. All right,
but if you had to give it a rating out of 5, what would you give this film and why?
Because there were things with the film that I felt weren't completely perfect, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give it a 4.7. I'm going to give it a really high rating. One, because I feel like it was the best possible way they could have closed out over a decade worth of films.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And wrapping it up. And because this is supposed to be the end of the Infinity Saga.
Right.
And they're not saying this is going to be the end of Marvel.
Right.
This is going to be the end of this storyline. So everything going forward is a completely new ball field.
Yeah.
A completely new game.
And they're finishing one book, and then
And now we're moving forward, doing something new.
And that's and yeah, I can see that. That's I can go with that. Mine, prepare yourselves, because I don't want the internet to hate me. We all have our opinions, bro. That's just what I'm saying. You have your right to your opinion. I have my right to mine. Russell has his.
Yeah, we do these things.
This is what we do these things for. But if I had to give it a rating, I give it a 3.7. It's
wow.
I know, and everybody's gonna be like, "Kid, that's
low.
Not
quite that solid.
Yeah. It's like, kid, that's kind of low for you." And most of the people are usually like, he gives 3s or like 3.5. But like, trust me, I think this film is amazing. I think this film is great, and it's huge, an epic movie. But there's just some things I didn't agree with, and like we discussed before off camera, we've been following this saga for about 11 years.
Yeah, this will be 11 years.
Yeah, we've seen these characters grow. So, and there's certain points certain things they did with other characters I just didn't agree with as a conclusion. And also, certain directions they went with certain people, I didn't believe that was the best version of themselves.
Right.
We've seen better versions of these characters in previous films. And not to say, like some of this, stuff isn't earned, but in this grand conclusion, you want to see the absolute best that these characters can.
Right.
And for this grand finale, of course. So there's just some things I didn't agree with, some directions I didn't agree with, but I mean overall it's still a great film. I think it pays a fantastic homage to
everything
the films prior.
Before.
That's come before it. It's so fantastic. We're really gonna miss these characters and these actors, from this conclusion. And I would recommend it, second viewing or third viewing to anybody.
Oh, I definitely feel like I'm gonna go back and I know I'm guaranteed to see it another time.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I want to probably see it a third time just because I want to make sure I intake everything.
Yeah. I'm saying thank you guys for joining us. If you Russell, let them know where they can follow you out on social media.
Yeah, of course. So I am on Mixer right now. I'm going to be starting this summer, so make sure you follow me on there. It's going to be mixer.com/I am Absolut, and then also on Twitter of Absolut RC.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's see that. I just found I added Twitter. Look
Yeah.
how close of friends we are. And of course, you can follow me at KendogDMFT on Twitter and Instagram. You can also follow the Brothers Perspective on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter at bro_perspective and on Instagram at brothers_perspective_. We get that tongue tied all the time.
It's a bunch of.
Yeah, it's a bunch of. But it's below. We'll put it below so you can follow. And definitely, click that bell icon so you can follow us. You get, of course, notifications. We have more guests like Russell and others definitely talking about films and what they thought. Of course, films like the MCU, films like stuff that has Dwayne Johnson, films that has, Zachary Levi. You never know where we'll go with these things. So it could be great. But definitely like, share, and subscribe, and catch Endgame so you can form your own opinion. Let us know what you think in the comments. And until next time, we'll see you guys soon. Peace.